Hello and welcome to our English news edition devoted to the Arab Summit due to be held starting from today in the capital, Algiers. First, and on the eve of the 31st session of the Arab Summit, the Arab leaders and heads of state started arriving to Algeria. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the President of the Comoros Islands, Azali Assoumani, who arrived on Sunday to the Houari Boumediene International Airport and to whom an official welcoming ceremony was reserved. After listening to the national anthems of both countries, the two heads of state reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard which honored them before greeting the welcoming delegations.
Jusqu'à la résidence. Tourisme Comores. Merci, monsieur le frère. À tout à l'heure. Allah, Inch'Allah. À demain, Inch'Allah.
The President of the Republic received the Chairman of the Libyan Presidential Council, Mohammed Yunus El-Menfi, who arrived on Monday to partake in the proceedings of the Arab Summit. An official welcome was reserved to Algeria's guest. After listening to the national anthems of both countries, the President of the Republic, along with the President of the Libyan Presidential Council, reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which honored them before greeting the welcoming delegations. In a related topic, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the President of the African Union, Macky Sall, Algeria's guest of honor at the proceedings of the Arab Summit, and to whom a special welcome was reserved. The two presidents then reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which honored them. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the President of the Palestinian State, Mahmoud Abbas, who arrived on Sunday to Algiers in order to take part in the proceedings of the Arab Summit. It is worth noting that an official welcoming ceremony was reserved to Algeria's guests. After listening to the national anthems of both countries, the two heads of state reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which honored them, before greeted the welcoming delegations. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the head of the Yemeni Presidential Council, Rashad Mohammed Ali Al-Alimi, who arrived to Algiers in order to take part in the proceedings of the Arab Summit. It is worth noting that an official welcoming ceremony was reserved to Algeria's guests. After listening to the national anthems of both countries, the two presidents reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which honored them, before greeting the welcoming delegations. The President of the Republic received the President of the Sudanese Council of Transitional Sovereignty, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, who arrived on Monday in order to partake in the proceedings of the Arab Summit. An official welcome ceremony was reserved to Algeria's guests. After listening to the national anthems of both countries, the two presidents reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which honored them, before greeting the welcoming delegations.
شكرا.
In In the same context, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the President of Iraq, Abdulatif Jamal Rashid, who arrived on Monday to participate in the proceedings of the Arab Summit. It is worth noting that an official welcome was reserved to Algeria's guest. After listening to the national anthems of both countries, the two heads of state reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which honored them before greeting the welcoming delegations. The President of the Republic received the President of Mauritania, Mohammed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazawani, who arrived to participate in the proceedings of the Arab Summit. It is worth noting that an official welcome was reserved to Algeria's guest. And after listening to the national anthems of both countries, the two heads of state reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which honored them before greeting the welcoming delegations. In the same context, Sheikh Saad bin Tariq Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister in charge of international relations and cooperation and Special Representative of the King of Oman, arrived on Monday to Algiers in order to take part in the proceedings of the Arab Summit. He was received upon his arrival at the Houari Boumediene International Airport by Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman. For his part, Sheikh Mohammed bin Mubarak Al Khalifa, Deputy Prime Minister and Special Representative of the King of Bahrain, arrived on Monday to take part in the 31st session of the Arab Summit. He was also received at the International Houari Boumediene Airport by the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman. The President of the Lebanese Council of Ministers, Najib Mikati, arrived on Monday to Algiers in order to participate in the Arab Summit. He was received at the Houari Boumediene International Airport by the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman. In a different context, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, sent a message on the occasion of the 68th anniversary of the outbreak of the November 1st, 1954 Glorious Liberation Revolution. The President of the Republic highlighted that Algeria has been graced with memorable days which reflect its glorious journey and showcase the fidelity of the martyrs' epics that are tied to the November Declaration. The martyrs who answered the call of freedom and dignity, our people driven by their faith in victory and under the umbrella of the National Liberation Front and the National Liberation Army led a relentless armed struggle despite the French repression and colonization, in addition to the mass destruction through the scorched land policy. Algerian revolutionaries resisted a relentless war for more than 7 years and snatched their victory victory thanks to their determination and sacrifices in the service of the values of freedom and dignity. The Algeria of prosperity, growth, liberty, independence, and unity for which the martyrs and war veterans sacrificed themselves is not only an inspiration, it is our current strategic objective for which we are all mobilized with unwavering faith in the nation's vast potentialities, which were hindered by the different accumulated over the years, in spite of the time and effort for which they were required to restore the state's authority and impose the supremacy of the law. The fight against these overruns did not hinder the will for change to put our country on the path of economic recovery and sustainable development throughout Algeria, to regain its position in regional and international forums and fulfill its pivotal role in the region and across the world. The President also congratulated on this occasion the Algerian people attached to their Arab solidarity and identity, and to whom he warmly welcomed their guests participating in the 31st Arab Summit. We will be celebrating this glorious day alongside the Arab brotherly countries while looking back on the noble message of November the 1st. Long live Algeria, glory to our martyrs, concluded the President of the Republic. In other news, an exclusive interview was granted by the President of the Republic to Qatar news agency, and during which he said that the presence of the Emir of Qatar in the Arab Summit enforces cohesion and is a powerful catalyst for the Arab reunification. He also hailed the efforts of the Emir of Qatar to unify the Arab ranks and promote integration and Arab solidarity. The President of the Republic also added that the World Cup due to be held in Qatar will mark the history of football as Qatar will surprise the world by a flawless level of organization. Algeria also expresses its permanent and wavering support to the state of Qatar in the World Cup and denounces the campaigns targeting it. According to the President of the Republic, the balanced vision and the exclusion of all those who put their personal interests above all, the two important factors that the Qatari diplomacy has been able to implement. Moreover, the President of the Republic stated that Algiers summit will represent a new start to activate and strengthen the joint Arab action, and that Algeria considers the Palestinian cause the mother of all causes. He also returned to Algeria's choice for the holding of the Arab summit on the 1st of November, which is based on the sacredness of this day being the date of the outbreak of the glorious November Revolution. In another activity, the President of the National Council, Salah Goujil, received the President of the Arab Parliament, Adel bin Abdurrahman Al-Asoni. During their meeting, Goujil put forward the role of the Arab Parliament in the joint Arab action. For his part, the President of the Arab Parliament affirmed his confidence in the capacity of Algeria to achieve a qualitative leap in the joint Arab action in the interest of the Arab world. The President of the Council of the Nation, Salah Goujil, also received the Secretary General of the Arab Parliamentary Union, Al-Arabi Faiz Shwabka. During the meeting, Goujil affirmed that Algiers summit aims to achieve the Arab decision in supporting economic independence. On Monday, the President of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boughali, supervised the commemorative festivities of the 68th anniversary of the outbreak of the Glorious Revolution. During his speech, Boughali reiterated that under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Algeria remains faithful to the oath of the martyrs and embraces the process of unity and cooperation. He also added that Algeria, which celebrates today a pivotal date in its history, is gathering the ranks of the Arab brotherly countries in a summit, the aim of which is to restore the Arab consensus. Ahead of the Arab Summit, the international media is witnessing an unprecedented activity of journalists accredited to cover the event. More details with our correspondent to the International Conference Center in Algiers, Melissa Kobash.
Journalists from all over the world flew to cover this important event, the Algiers Summit. a historical date that aims at unifying the Arab ranks and push the Arab action forward, which is why a large media coverage has been dedicated to it, notably at the International Press Center.
Algerian authorities provided us with all necessary benefits, means of journalists to ensure a good coverage in this summit. I would thank the Algerian government for this benefits.
Several efforts have been deployed by the Algerian authorities to ensure the success of the summit and meet media's expectations.
We have found everything we need from the Algerian authorities. It has been very easy for us to move around the Algerian capital to cover this important summit. You know, this summit came after stopping for 3 years because of COVID-19. And the Algerian authorities have worked very hard for this summit since months ago before its time. We found it as expected. You know, every Arab country came here to sit together to discuss the different Arabic files. We hope that the conclusion will be as we expected.
Indeed, an exceptional media coverage is reserved for the Arab Summit. TV sets, newsrooms, as well as digital studios have been put at the disposal of journalists to ensure the smooth running of their efficient work. That was Melissa Kubash from the International Center of Conference, Abdelatif Rahal, Canal, Algérie.
And we wrap up our today's news edition with these colorful and beautiful images as part of the special parade held in Algiers to celebrate the outbreak of the glorious November Revolution. Enjoy and goodbye.
نحن أبناء الجزائر نحن نحمي هذه الأرض الطيبة الطاهرة المسقية بالدماء.
For what we have done to Algeria, to this summit.
مليون رحمة تنزل على شهيدات وشهداء الجزائر، المجد والخلود لشهداء الجزائر. أرض الشهداء.
Gentlemen, let's welcome the Saudi Arabic.
الجمهورية اللبنانية.
And after the Arabic Saudi
جمهورية مصر العربية.
is also with us. We just remember.
الجمهورية الإسلامية الموريتانية.